Hey everyone, Adam here, Sub Wizard Podcast. I'm sitting down with, I should have asked before, Jorge, you said?
Georgie. No,
Georgie.
Georgie.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Georgie. It's
I'm going to
okay.
cut this
It's a
out so I
tricky
don't look
name.
so bad.
Jorgy Cruz. All
Sorry.
right.
Hey everyone, Adam here, Sub Wizard Podcast. I'm sitting down with Jorgy Cruz, who's a director of a new documentary, funny documentary. Jorgy, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I appreciate you taking the time. This should be fun.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right. Well, before we get into funny pains, I like asking creative people how they got into their trade. So for you, directing, what was the spark?
Actually, when I was like 6 or 7 years old, I wanted to be in the film in the film world in some way. Of course, when you're 6, you don't know what you're talking about. I just fell in love with movies, and I don't know how old you are, but my dad had one of the first like VHS cameras.
Okay.
It was like a microwave that you held right here, right? And I could never touch it. It was like I could play with anything but that. And then he got a smaller one, and I remember one day we were like in a hike, and he had it, and I kept bugging him like I want to hold the camera. And man, the first time I went to the viewfinder, I was like, oh my God, just my mind exploded. But then when I grew up, I kind of forgot about that. And my parents are doctors. I grew up around doctors all the time. So I thought like, hey, that's fun. And I dig it and I know it. So been around it my whole life. So I actually went to med school for 4.5 years almost.
Wow.
And it was... I mean, it's cool. It was interesting. I loved that part, but it was just I was miserable and didn't love it. And I decided to change my life, sold everything, got on a plane to Madrid, studied film over there, and then I flew to New York, landed a scholarship at the New School University. I studied film again there, and I took off, started directing, writing, and here I am, 15 years later.
That's quite a gear switch.
I know, but it's
especially
cool.
Being that deep. It's not like you did a semester and you're like, nah, it's not for me.
Yeah, I kind of was forcing myself, and like, when you're in there, it's very competitive, and I'm a very competitive person, and just the knowledge that you get from every class, like, oh my God, this is how the human body works. I really, dove into it, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't my passion, for sure.
Right. Okay. That's a really tough thing to stick with if it's not your passion.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And also, to go back even further, who hikes with one of those giant camcorders?
My dad is kind of crazy, man.
Training for the SEALs? I mean, that's crazy.
Well, his nickname is Rambo, so...
Oh, there you go. It all works.
You're right on the money, yeah.
That's awesome. All right, so you went to film school in New York, you said, right?
Yeah, Madrid and New York, yeah.
Okay. What was your first big project?
Ooh, it was in New York, actually. I got hired to work on it was a big project for me at the moment. I was just a PA, but I was going to get paid.
No, there you go, yeah.
In a feature film in which, this guy, Adam Sandler, was the star, and, and I got to be around that for around 2 days, and then I got fired.
Oh.
Because I'm Dominican. When you're from an island, everything is just chill. Just, why are you going so fast? Just slow down.
Oh, okay.
And the same goes for like, hey, we said we were going to meet at 4, and I get there at 4:25, and I'm like, sorry, whatever. Like, but it's just how it is in an island. So I was late twice to the set, and the third day, I went in and my card didn't work, and I told the security guy, hey, my card's not working to go through. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, Jorgy Cruz. Oh, right, yeah, there you go. I'm like, what's that? Yeah, you're gone. I'm like, what? And I called the producer. He was like, yeah, man, you're late. I'm like, oh, this is no one else was late. You and another guy, you're both gone.
Yeah.
Welcome to and he said, never forget it. Welcome to the big leagues. I'm like, and I got my stuff together. Like, I got it together. I was like, okay, this is not artsy arts. This has, kind of like a military almost kind of thing going on with time and punctuality. And so that was the first time, and I got the best lesson of my life in film. And then later on, I worked in, I remember doing my first like big commercial for a huge bank in Latin America, a crew of 60 people. And then writing scripts, feature films. And then I got really good at it. And I started like being a script doctor for guys that wrote script that I looked up to. They were reaching out to me like, hey, can you take a look at this and just kind of like check it out? I'm like, wait, but you're the top guy. Well, right. I'm not. And they're like, no. You're the up and coming dude. Like, we need you. So I got, in all aspects, I got like big things happening. And then of course, when I finished my documentary now, that was just highlight of my career for sure.
Oh, awesome. I imagine being a script doctor, especially for people you look up for, is like, you got to have a lot of backbone to be like, no, make this change. I think this is better my way.
Oh yeah. I mean, here's the thing, Adam. I'm the kind of person, if you tell me, hey, Jorgy, we need to build a house in 3 days. I've never, done anything like that. I'd be like, let's go. Once I'm there, we're going to figure it out. And if the house doesn't get made, I'll be like, I really gave it my best. Okay. So when they gave me scripts like that, these guys that I really admired, I was pissing my pants. But then when I got into it, I got a lot of confidence from like, hey, wait, they're trusting you. They're paying you money. This is not a game. Like, believe more in yourself. And that really gave me like this confidence boost that then a lot of people hired me. And of course, the first time I did not sleep for 5 days, just working on it, nervous and coffee. And I'm like, oh my God. But then, now it's more like, I know I'm in control. I know what I'm doing and like, I can handle it. But the butterflies are always there if I'm going to, deliver or not. But
it has to be. Yeah. Can't get too comfortable.
Yeah, of course. That's very important. What you just said. Never get too comfortable. Once you get comfy, you're done.
Right, you're out. That's really awesome. It's a fascinating, the script doctor aspect of it is really fascinating because it's like they are coming to you because they see something in your writing or your storytelling that they want. But I would just be so afraid that it's like, how am I going to tell this guy that I look up to that my way in this particular case is better? But I guess it's not like an ego thing, or it shouldn't be.
No, I used a lot the strategy of like, this character saying this or behaving this way is actually not communicating properly with this in this generation. Okay. So you're talking to boomers right now. You're talking to some Gen Z X, but there's some new, the new generation, they're not going to click with this. And they're the ones going to the theater. Right. So stuff like that will help me out instead of being like, this kind of sucks. This is not going anywhere. This has been done before, so I learned some little tricks to communicate it that way.
Nice. That's awesome. The commercial you mentioned, the big commercial, what was your role in that? Were you directing?
Yeah. So I directed a bunch of like, smaller projects and commercial work and like mini documentaries and stuff like that. But there's a lot of money in the commercial world. And, you need, developing a project like a film or a documentary takes a long time. In the meantime, you need to make money and pay rent. So I started going for big commercials. And I directed a short like mini doc for a company. Well, it was a big company. It was Coca-Cola. And I did that and kind of blew up. People really dug it. And then some ad agencies were just like, hey, maybe we should get this guy to direct this, to direct that. So they started like calling me like, hey, we want you to direct this thing. And I was very surprised. I was like, really? All right, let's go. And I did it, I exceeded their expectations, which was great. And with a, healthy budget, not a bloated budget, which usually happens in commercials. So that started like a career for me in commercials. And I did a lot of commercials, which is, it's fun. But, when you have 5-6 people from an agency breathing down your neck the whole day, it can be kind of rough. It takes time to gain their trust so they can relax. Because if the commercial doesn't work, they get fired. Right. Usually. Right.
I imagine your shooting schedule not as incredibly tight too.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. You know, commercial are like movies. 16-hour days, 14-hour days, and you need to cramp a lot of stuff in there because, of course, the fewer days that you shoot, the healthier the budget's going to be, the happier the client's going to be. So yeah, it's a lot of pressure, but once you see the final product, it's pretty cool.
That is really cool. And I think a lot of people on the outside don't realize how lucrative commercials really are.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's like, to be honest, I did things back in the day that it was like, you're going to pay me all this money like for this? Okay. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. But some other projects, you're like, wait, we need, $20,000 more for this, $30K more. And they're like, yeah, there's no more. And like, all right, let's make it work. And those can be cool too, because you need to get really creative. But
cool in hindsight.
yeah, it's like I say, my dream in life is to shoot one of those perfume commercials where it's just like a lady going through a hallway. Nothing makes sense. It's three shots.
There's a pool in the background.
And the budget is like $5 million.
Yeah.
I want to do one of those.
Catering, right? Catering and wardrobe.
Yeah. Something like that, yeah. But yeah, doing commercials pretty fun, a lot of pressure. You need to deliver, and you need to.
Sure.
But it's very good for a filmmaker to do commercials because you need to learn how to communicate in a way to a lot of people in an agency. You need to communicate with them in a level that maybe you wouldn't have done before in a documentary or a fictional feature film, whatever. Like you need to learn how to get everyone on the same page and understand what you're going to do and how you're going to do it.
And quickly.
Yes. And that helps a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I think a lot of people do underestimate the commercial market just in how hard it is and how intense it is. But that's really cool because it's probably a really good place to get your feet wet for something. You mentioned it before, your documentary.
Of course, because, in a commercial, you get a budget, you get paid, you work, you deliver, and that's it. When you're doing a documentary, it's absolutely all on you. Everything is on you. Here, it's on you. And if things don't work out, maybe another agency will hire you or whatever. But, you mess up a film and you have investors and you have a distribution company waiting for the movie to be delivered. And you have, people that have worked with you that maybe got paid half of the money and then they're going to get the other half when the movie comes out and you mess up and you don't deliver. Oof, that's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
A massive crew relying on you.
Yeah, like I like when I finished. By the time I finished the doc, I felt like I lost 10 years of my life.
Oh,
but then after it came out, I'm like, okay, I got the 10 back again. Like I feel great.
Oh,
again.
okay.
But I was,
you didn't just feel drained and dead.
No, I was physically and emotionally just like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
Well, it's not just like you're working an 8-hour day and then you check out and you go home and watch Netflix. You're living that for however long.
24/7. That's everything. And that's why, at the end, when the movie comes out and it's great, it was a team effort. When it sucks, it's my fault.
Right.
You have that on your mind all the time. Like, I need to deliver. This needs to be great. But you find, like, I found out a lot about myself as a filmmaker in this process that I grew so much that I feel so much like confident of what is my vision and how I look at things and how because I had to direct, produce, and edit the whole thing.
Right.
And that is something that I do not recommend at all to any filmmaker to do. And it took a lot for me, but I learned a lot. I learned quite a lot.
I was going to ask if you found directing and editing anyway to be maybe not easier because it's more work, but as a director who's also editing, do you know, like, that's the shot we need, we can move on? Or
yeah, so I after I finish film school and all that stuff, I was like, okay, I'm going to direct, I'm going to write. But then when you get out there, you learn that no one's going to hire you as a director. You need to build this crazy resume and portfolio for people to maybe give you a chance. So what I did was like, all right, like I know how to edit, but I'm not an editor. So I'm going to train myself. So for about almost 2 years. I edited something basically every day. Every day I did something. And I got to the point where I became very proficient and fast at it. And that relates directly to me directing and also holding the camera. So I also like, in this documentary, we shot 2 cameras all the time. I'm holding one of the cameras all the time. So I'm not that director that sits down in action. I'm in it all the time. Mm-hmm. So when I was shooting the doc, I was shooting everything not only as a director but mostly as an editor, and that helped me out a lot. Because if I was, we always have walkie-talkies and stuff, and I'll be shooting something from this angle and I need another angle, I'd be like, just hey, take this angle, take whatever. I'm editing in my mind, how am I going to cut this, or if I mess up my shot. So I did that a lot, and also I didn't shoot like, I've edited stuff from other documentaries that it's just like the camera is just there and there and there for 2 hours and nothing happens, and it's just, so we didn't have that issue. Mm-hmm. We have everything organized per day per camera, and I did this crazy system. Have you seen A Beautiful Mind? Do you remember that movie?
Yeah.
Remember where he wrote like on the walls and on the windows, everything, all the formulas and stuff? That was my office.
That was your shooting schedule?
Just like when I was ingesting the footage and organizing, it was like this happened, and I had this weird system with Post-its and it's just, just a manic thing almost. And I had everything ready like that. And I didn't have a bunch of footage. I mean, I have a lot, but I should have had 3 times the footage that I had. And at the end, I cut out a bunch, but I was able to take from almost every day that we shot something, at least a B-roll, something from every day. Not one day went to waste,
that's awesome. And I'm sure your crew appreciates that too.
Of course. And also, like, we were skeleton crew. I mean, we were like 4 people, 5 people, 6 people at the most, or maybe 8 a couple of days. But then it was just basically me and my DP, Pablo Minier, and sometimes my producer, and I was doing audio at the same time with the camera. Like, it was rough, but it was really fun because we're kind of in control,
Oh yeah, we've kind of been talking about your documentary, but we haven't really flat out said what it is. So do you want to tell everyone what Funny Pains really is?
Of course. So Funny Pains, it's a documentary. It's like it's a layered documentary because it's about the life of Wendy Starling, living in New York City. She's from California, but she moved to New York to get to the next level as a stand-up comic. And what's special about Wendy is that the material that she uses is pretty raw and intense. It doesn't compare. It's not similar to anyone's material. She lives with bipolar disorder, but she doesn't take medication. She's a survivor of a sexual assault and rape also. She has a lot of issues about growing up with her family. So there's a lot of things in her past, a lot of things in her head going around all the time. And she has this masterful way of taking all that kind of dark stuff and turning it into comedy. So we follow her around, seeing her process. And we will go back and forth from like her life in New York City to some round tables with some pretty well-known comics like Nikki Glaser and Jim Norton, Rich Voss, Buddy McFarlane, Andrew Schultz, who's killing it right now, Jamanica Saunders. So we have all this amazing comics kind of like validating what she's going through because all of them went through it one way or the other. Mm-hmm. We also touch on being a woman comic. What does that mean? We touch on being a comic in New York, how different it is from LA or any other places. And we touch on something that, is kind of cliche, but people think that comics are, in their apartment making jokes. They're not. They're regular people. This is their job. This is their craft. It's just that mastery of how they do that. And also it's a story of It's the human experience, of course, but it's also a story about success. What is success? You know, is it monetary? Is it doing what you love? Is it never giving up, even if you don't get to like, oh, I'm an A-lister in Hollywood? No, like, what is success? And I think the movie really finds that a little bit with comics, because it's a tough job, man.
Oh yeah, that's one of those things that I find endlessly fascinating, and why I was so interested in hearing about your documentary, because I I know I could never do it. That's for one thing. But it's also I love hearing the drive that people have who do it, because it's got to be the hardest thing in show business.
It is, and just think about it. Just, you walk into a room, there's 80 people, half of them are drunk. You got a spotlight on you and a mic. Make me laugh.
Yeah.
I mean, just that scares everything out of me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's, you know, and just trying to build a joke, trying to build a bit that connects with people, that makes people laugh. There's a lot of tries, a lot of failures. You're in New York City and you're in the Comedy Cellar, and maybe, I don't know, Chappelle walks in or Chris Rock walks in and he wants to try 20 minutes that he has, and you're not going to laugh, probably. He's working on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that path, that odyssey that they have to go through to make something funny, it's pretty darn difficult. And there's a lot of rejection. There's a lot of humiliation that they go through, which, they grow a thick skin pretty darn fast. And they become, comics are a breed of their own, man. You and I are civilians to them.
Right.
we're not in the same frequency. They don't see things the same way, So I think that changes them. All that, fail, trial and error, or all those humiliations, or all those rejections. They get rejected a lot, So it's pretty interesting seeing how they do what they do, and especially in New York City, that they do it every night.
Yeah, New York City, I think Boston, LA, they all have pretty solid comedy scenes, but they're brutal to get into. I mean, you go years without making $1.
Oh yeah, and not only that, one of the biggest surprises for me was, like, I remember one night Wendy told me, "Hey, I'm gonna be working the New York Comedy Club now. They're gonna be paying me. I'm gonna be a regular." I'm like, "Oh my God, congratulations!" She's like, "Yeah, I'm getting $25 every night I do a show."
Yeah, in New York City, you can't eat.
$25? Oh yeah, I mean, I get a drink and some nachos too if I want to. I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you didn't mention that.
$25. I saw headliners that we've seen on Netflix with, with specials. They're like, oh, they're headlining today. They're getting $250. And it's a packed room of people.
Yeah, it's like they sold out your club and they get $200.
Yeah, and like all those clubs is like 2-drink minimum, like, and it's like every drink is like $11. So
yeah, they're cleaning up.
Oh yeah, and you get 3 shows a night. I mean, come on. So it's rough. That was very surprising to me. I thought it was a little bit more, that pay was going to be a little bit more fair, but it's kind of like unwritten rule. Like, this is just how it is. You don't make money at the clubs. If you want to make money, you need to get a manager and go on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many stand-ups doing sitcoms. If you get that TV deal, it's like, I'm finally getting paid.
Oh my God. Yeah. Some of them just get sick of it. And for some of them, for years, especially back in the 90s and back in the Seinfeld era, that was the dream. You had a 1 hour a show, and that you turned into a sitcom.
Yep.
A lot of people got deals, but now they dread that. Most of them, they're like, I don't want a sitcom. Like, you die after that. You're done. And TV is not doing so hot anymore.
Right.
So now is basically they're transitioning more to podcasts and doing shows. And then, of course, COVID happened, and then shows went out the window. So a lot of them are
dried up.
Yeah. So they're doing a lot of. Some comics have 4 or 5 podcasts right now. Even if it's like a duo with another guy, whatever.
Right.
4 and 5 just to make ends meet.
Talking to all these comics that you got to interact with for your documentary, did they get into how they feel about the internet? Because I imagine it's a great way to get your stuff out there, but is it a way to get paid for getting your stuff out there?
Yeah, so I think you're gonna find two types of comics that I met during this process, and it's that you got a group of comics that they're hustlers, man. They're trying to get out there, and the internet has given them so much power. You know, if you look up Andrew Schultz right now, Andrew has done, he's taken over the comedy internet, whatever you want to call it, on his terms. He's getting paid a lot of money. He has the number one comedy patron in the world. He's getting 1 million views, in 3 days on any clip that he posts on YouTube. So he's getting paid. And he's doing what he wants. That took him 7 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's 7 years of hustling.
7 years of hustling. And 2020 was the best thing that happened to him. Because while all the comics just went home, you're like, all right, the clubs are closed. I have nothing to do. He was like, oh, I'm going to triple my content right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that. And now he's the king of that. So you have that kind of comic. And then you have the other ones that can be very good at blaming,
everything else,
everything that's not happening because of this, not happening because of that. And a lot of people have quit comedy in 2020. A lot of people went away. A lot of people were like, oh, I'm done with this. A lot of people that moved to New York to make it, moved back to Idaho or whatever. Like, okay, I'm done. I'm done. This is done. Everything is closed. So they have a love-hate relationship with the internet because they get paid if they work hard, but at the same time, we have this the PC crowd, the woke extreme crowd.
It's tough to make a joke now.
They're gunning the first time in history that that they're going for comedy. Like, you said this in a podcast 17 years ago. Like, wait. I was a kid. I made a mistake. I was trying to be funny. And comics can say a lot of horrible things while trying to build the joke. They're not thinking
kind of
about
the point.
Yeah, they're not thinking about your feelings. They're just trying to work it out, and sometimes they're gonna mess up, and that's okay. And comedy's here to disrupt. Also, comedy has been here for us to go, ooh, let me think about that, or wow, that was harsh, but it is funny. It is very creative. Like, it makes us think. It's supposed to get us a little bit riled up. If not, it's just it's bland. So they have that love-hate relationship with it, but the internet is their friend right now, for sure.
Yeah, which is a good thing. It's kind of the silver lining to, kind of making the best out of a bad situation, I should say.
True.
Yeah. So what drew you to Christina was her name? The main subject of your documentary?
Wendy. Well,
Wendy. I'm sorry. I don't know where I got that.
No, Christina is in the doc. Christina is one of her best friends.
Okay.
So Wendy, I saw her. I used to go to a bunch of stand-up shows in New York, and I went to a little one, in Midtown Manhattan, and she performed there. Never seen her before. And the comics that went on stage before her were good. Nothing, you get a chuckle. You're not gonna laugh out loud. She came into the stage, and her energy, her presence, how she took over the crowd, and the material she was talking about was just magical and everything. I never seen anything like it. Still, I haven't seen it. And I remember, the crowd was looking at each other like, are we laughing at this? How is she doing this? How is she making me laugh about bipolar and she being committed? And, so after the show, I got the urge to talk to her. And I said, hey, you want to hang out one day and I can come with a camera and like just follow you around for a day and see like the life of a comic and see we can make something. And she agreed. And the first day was amazing because she was so open and transparent with everything, which is like the dream for a filmmaker shooting a documentary. And I learned so much about her that day that I was convinced. I was like, I got a documentary. This is not like a little short video for fun. This is a documentary. And I followed through, and that's why we shot it.
So you weren't looking for a project. You fell into a project.
100%. I've been wanting to do a documentary for a while before that. But, all the subjects, all the ideas that I thought about, it just they didn't excite me, and they didn't excite me because I wasn't clear about them. This happened in front of me. It wasn't like someone told me, hey, you need to check out this comic. It just happened. I was sitting in New York and that happened. I was like, okay, this is it. And something just drew me to it, and it was her, and it paid off.
Yeah, that's very cool. So is the documentary available for people to see right now?
Oh yeah. So we came out actually last year for rent and buy on Amazon, Google Play, YouTube, iTunes, all that stuff. And we came out with a bang, pretty well. We were doing pretty well. And then, unfortunately for everybody, the murder of George Floyd happened.
Mm-hmm.
And then the protests started to happen. People locked up in their houses, and Corona, and just viewership just disappeared. People were just watching the news and stuff like that. So that happened in the middle of like 5-6 days after we came out. So the expectation that we had was pretty big, and then it kind of like just died pretty quick. So I just said, hey, let's wait for this year to finish.
Yeah.
This year is just crap. No one is getting anything done. Let's just let it go, and we'll reassess in 2021. So what we did is that January 27th, we came out with Funny Pains on the platform called Tubi. Tubi is owned by Fox. It gained a lot of viewers and last year because Tubi is absolutely free. You don't even have to sign up. TubiTV.com, type in the movie you want to watch. That's it. You get a couple of ads. That's it. Completely free. No subscription, no email, no info. Just watch the movie. Yeah, we have it on all our socials and everything, from Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Funny Pains Movie. The link is there. You click on it and you're in.
That's awesome. And it's, I'm guessing, still available on all the other platforms you mentioned too.
Oh, 100%. A lot of people like to buy it, to have it. A lot of teachers have reached out to me to use it in classes and stuff like that. So pretty cool. Yeah.
Very cool. Why don't you tell everybody, aside from where they find the documentary, where they can find you, your projects, your socials?
Oh, cool. Yeah. So the movie is it's at funnypain.com. And my company, my production company is Longwood Media, which is longwood.media is the website. You can find everything there about us. Yeah, you can reach out for any project idea and any support too. We help a lot of students, shoot their first short films. We help, young people if they're writing a story or they're writing a script and, they need a little help. We love to help people. I'm a former film teacher as well. Huh. So yeah, I really dig it. So we're there, longwood.media. Reach out. We'll give you a hand.
That's very cool. Well, thank you very much for taking the time. That was really interesting. I could probably pick your brain all day, but I'm sure you got a million things going on. So
yeah,
thank you.
I got a 2-year-old over there that's waiting for me.
Yeah.
So that's rough. But yeah, Adam, thank you for having me, man. And funnypains.com, people can find anything there, and it's absolutely free on Tubi. Free. You don't have to put even your email. Just watch it. Share it with everybody, and I think it's a wonderful movie. It's very inspirational.
That's very cool. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you, Adam.
Thanks. Take care.
All right.